I took the night shift at the airport because I couldn't stand being alone in my apartment anymore. Silence after midnight reminded me too much of the hospital room, the constant beeping that stopped too suddenly. My sister used to love watching planes take off. She said it made her feel like escape was always possible. After she died, I started coming here on my nights off, sitting in the public terminal just to feel movement around me. When the job opened for overnight maintenance, I took it without thinking. The work was simple. Clean, inspect, log, repeat. No passengers, just empty halls and distant engine hums. I told myself the noise would drown the grief. But grief doesn't drown. It waits. Some nights, while pushing my cart past darkened gates, I still whispered updates to her like she could hear me through the walls. I was wrong about one thing. I was never alone in that terminal.
Every night followed the same pattern. Clock in at 11:58, coffee from the break room, radios checked, then the long walk through Terminal C. Polished floors reflected ceiling lights like water. HVAC vents sighed constantly. Somewhere far off, a single maintenance vehicle rolled along the runway. Around 1:12 a.m., I always passed Gate 27. That gate was permanently closed due to renovations, sealed behind metal dividers. The first strange thing happened on a Tuesday. As I passed, I heard a faint boarding announcement echo from behind the wall. Soft, muffled, like an old recording. I stopped, listened, then laughed at myself. Old wiring, I decided. Maybe crossed audio lines? The airport was ancient in some areas. Still, I walked faster after that. That night I also noticed the temperature near Gate 27 was always colder than anywhere else. I told myself it was just poor insulation. I didn't report it. I should have.
3 nights later, I heard footsteps behind me near the same gate. Slow, unmatched to mine. I stopped. The steps stopped. I turned around. The hallway was empty, stretching endlessly under fluorescent light. My radio was silent. I took 1 step forward. The second pair followed. The sound came from behind the divider, from inside the sealed gate. My skin tightened. I pressed my ear to the metal. Breathing brushed the other side. Low, wet, too close. I jumped back and called security. They checked the camera feed for that section. Static. Only Gate 27 showed nothing at all, just frozen interference. They blamed the old system. That night, as I finished my shift, I found a fresh set of wet footprints on the floor. Bare footprints, leading from Gate 27, stopping directly behind the spot where I had been standing during the call.
After that, I started feeling watched everywhere. My reflection lagged in the glass panels, moving a fraction of a second too late. Radios crackled with soft breathing between transmissions. Shadows stretched when nothing moved. At Gate 27, the divider now bulged outward slightly, as if something pressed from behind. Every time I'd passed it, the airport grew quieter, not silent, muffled, like cotton stuffed in my ears. I reported everything again. Maintenance blamed pressure shifts. Security shrugged. Overnight, things always feel wrong, they said. I began logging every detail in my notebook. Times, sounds, temperatures. But the notebook started changing. Dates rewritten in my own handwriting that I did not remember writing. At 3:17 a.m. every night, without fail, my radio would click once, and a woman's voice would whisper my name from inside the wall. She sounded like my sister. The voice finally spoke clearly on the 7th night. I stood frozen outside Gate 27 when the divider began to rattle, slowly, deliberately. Then the voice said, "You never visit my room anymore." My stomach folded in on itself. That was a sentence my sister used to say to me when she was sick. I backed away, shaking, begging over the radio for backup. The divider bent inward with a screech of metal. Fingers slid through the gap. Too many fingers, jointed wrong, pale and slick. Then her face pushed through. It was my sister's face, but twisted thin, skin stretched too tight over bone, eyes black and glassy like jet windows at night. Her mouth opened wider than a mouth should. She smiled with all my sister's memories and none of her warmth. "I followed you home to the place you loved," it said. "Now it belongs to me." I ran. My boots slipped on the polished floor as alarms erupted behind me. The divider finally tore free with a scream of steel. Something heavy slammed onto the terminal tile. I could hear it moving, fast and wet, scraping after me. Emergency doors refused to open. Access denied flashed red. The lights dimmed to emergency amber. My radio shrieked with open static and my sister's breathing layered beneath it. I cut left into a service hallway and slammed the fire door behind me. The handle shook violently at once. Not pounding. Testing. Patient. I could hear it learning the door, mapping its weaknesses. I sprinted through narrow corridors of piping and steam vents, my lungs on fire. Every exit I tried was locked from the outside. The airport was no longer a building. It was a cage. And whatever wore my sister's face knew every inch of it. I don't remember when I started crying. I just know my face was wet and my hands wouldn't stop shaking. The hallways blurred. The signs rearranged themselves. Arrows pointed where there were no doors. I heard my sister's voice inside my head now, not over the radio, telling me it was my fault, telling me I left her alone in the dark. My thoughts chopped into fragments. Run, hide, breathe, wrong, all wrong. The walls began to ripple like heat distortion. I could feel the airport breathing with me. In, out, in, out. Footsteps echoed from every direction. Sometimes they matched mine, sometimes they didn't. I didn't know which ones belonged to me anymore. My reflection in a glass case smiled when I wasn't. I slammed my fist through it and screamed just to prove I still could. I reached the old emergency stairwell leading up to the control tower, my last vertical path. As I climbed, the voice returned, no longer pretending. "You brought me back by remembering me," it said calmly. "Grief opens doors that death cannot." On the landing, I saw the truth carved into the wall in dried blood. My notebook entries, copied perfectly, every time, every night. I had been documenting my own spiral for much longer than I remembered. The staircase above me collapsed inward with a thunderous crash. Below, footsteps climbed steadily. There was no longer an escape route, only directions. Up to nothing, down to it. The lights died completely. Emergency glow vanished. I stood blind, trapped between two voids, listening to wet fingers slide along concrete below me as the thing that wore my sister's voice patiently approached. I chose down. I ran straight into it. The darkness exploded into motion. Cold limbs wrapped around me, jointed in ways bodies should never form. My back hit the wall hard enough to steal the air from my lungs. Its face unfolded inches from mine, skin peeled back in sections, revealing rows of shifting teeth beneath my sister's familiar smile. I screamed until my throat tore raw. It tightened its grip slowly, deliberately, savoring the panic. My radio crackled to life for the last time. Dispatch called my name calmly, asking for a status check. I couldn't answer. The thing pressed its forehead against mine. I felt every memory it carried that wasn't mine. Every death buried beneath this airport. Plane fires, crushed bodies, final screams sealed into concrete. They all poured into me at once as it opened its mouth,
and pulled my breath into itself.
When I woke up, I was standing at Gate 27. The divider was intact. The terminal lights were normal, my radio hummed quietly, my hands were steady. My grief was gone. Security passed by without noticing me. Passengers rolled luggage through my legs and didn't react. I tried to touch one of them. My hand passed through his arm like mist. From inside the sealed gate, I heard muffled footsteps. Slow, trapped. Then a familiar voice whispered my name from behind the wall. My own voice, calm, afraid, begging to be let out. I understood then what the airport really did. It didn't kill people. It kept them. I stayed where I was assigned. I still walk Terminal C every night. And if you ever hear someone calling for help behind a closed gate after midnight, don't stop. They already belong to the airport.